Hey there, creepy peeps. Welcome to my channel. If you are new here, welcome back. If you are returning, it is time for another Creepy Book Club review for December's pick, Into the Drowning Deep by Mira Grant. Hey, I only mentioned this like 50,000 times it feels like, but I have a book club. We are on Goodreads. The link for it will be in the description. We read one horror book a month, talk about it, and it's a fun book reading time. So if you're into books, if your resolution this year is to read more, definitely check us out. Our January book, if you're interested, is The Exorcist by William Peter Blatty. But for right now, we are talking about, like I said, Into the Drowning Deep by Mira Grant, which is a pseudonym for Shannon McGuire. Like I do every time, I'm just gonna go ahead and read the summary. Read the summary from in here because I am horrible at summarizing books. 7 years ago, the Adder Goddess set off on a voyage to the Mariana Trench to film a mockumentary bringing to life ancient sea creatures of legend. It was lost at sea with all hands. Some have called it a hoax. Others have called it a tragedy. Now a new crew has been assembled, but this time they're not out to entertain. Some seek to validate their life's work. Some seek the greatest hunt of all. Some seek the truth. But for the ambitious young scientist Victoria Stewart, this is a voyage to uncover the fate of the sister she lost. Whatever the truth may be, it will only be found below the waves. I know, this book sounds awesome. I think when I described it in a previous video, it was like killer mermaids, which is basically the book. It is a horror sci-fi novel about terrifying mermaids, and I loved it. I did mention it in my 2019 recap. It made my top 10 books that I read in 2019, although that's all I said about it because I wanted to save my review for this video. As somebody who doesn't read a whole lot of sci-fi, I really loved this. Funnily enough, I really liked it for the reasons that I sometimes don't like sci-fi. There's just a lot, like especially with sci-fi and fantasy, there is a lot of world building. I'm slowly getting into the genre more, but there's a lot of world building, and that usually means a whole lot of setup before anything happens, but it's all necessary, and this book kind of helped teach me how necessary that is. So I'm definitely gonna go back and give some other books a try. I didn't think how necessary it was, and this proves in spades like how necessary this setup is. Although the setup in this isn't too terribly long, but it's incredibly detailed, especially scientifically detailed, which I was never the math or science genius of the family. I was more into English and history, but even I was into this, and it's very science and like chemistry heavy. So you can tell, even from somebody who has like zero science background, I could tell just how much time and effort and research went into creating the backstory for this. Like, you could put somebody in a lab coat and have them explain these mermaids to me in the detail that they are in the book, and I would fully believe that mermaids existed. That's how much detail is put into this, how much thought is put into it, because it's a bunch of scientists going out there looking for the mermaids. So of course, eventually it's gonna come to a point where they kill one and they're able to dissect one, and they find out all this stuff about like the physical makeup of these creatures, and it's so incredibly detailed. So much thought went into this, and it's all worth it. Sometimes it can get a little boring, I guess, maybe for like non-science minded people like myself, but it all ends up being worth it in the end. All extremely necessary to the story, and once things get going, you're gonna really appreciate all of the work that went into this in the beginning, for sure. There's also a whole lot of diversity in this book, which just makes me happy. I mean, it's a crew that the second crew that goes out after the first ship is lost is like 200 plus people, and so it's like naturally you would think they're not all white people, which they're not, and they're diverse in many ways too, not just skin color, sexual orientation, disabilities even. There's so many diverse characters that you hear from. It's awesome. It's just incredibly awesome, especially given the fact that a lot of them are women and a lot of them are in STEM, which is really cool. Again, I was never a STEM person, but that's just because the old noggin. And of course, as it is a more horror novel, we have to talk about how scary it is. It's pretty scary. First and foremost, they're above the Mariana Trench, which is the deepest point in the ocean. Just the regular deep ocean scares me, let alone the literal deepest part. I know I'm definitely not alone in the fear of like being out in the open ocean and some giant predator could be swimming underneath you and you would have no idea. That's fucking terrifying. So that's terrifying enough without the killer mermaids. It gets quite scary. They're ambush predators, so there's a lot of really scary scenes where they're attacking people and surprising them. And it also gets quite gory because, as you would imagine, they eat people. So there's a lot of scenes of tearing out intestines and guts and getting blood everywhere. And so any gore fans are really gonna like this also. Though the mermaids themselves are terrifying, the way I would describe them myself based on the description given in the book, I would say it's some like horrifying cross between the merman that you see in Cabin in the Woods and the mermaids from Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. This is the first in a series. I did see, I think it's meant to be like a little novella, which is a prequel, which I think is supposed to be the Atargatis, which you only kind of hear in passing in the beginning of the book. Like, you know that they set off to do the mockumentary, everybody died, no survivors, no bodies. I think that's what that's meant to be, and it's called Rolling in the Deep. I think I might try and pick that up if I can. I don't know when the second book of this is coming out. It probably takes a lot of time to write that given how much scientific information is in this, so to make sure that it's all like detailed and accurate, so it might be a while, but I'll wait. I got plenty to read in between then. As I do, I'm going to take to the Goodreads group and see if any of the members shared their thoughts on this and share them with you guys in turn. So Claire posted, gosh, you really liked this book, so did I. I even went ahead and read the tiny prequel of this, Rolling in the Deep, which was also really enjoyable. Thank you for posting that you read that because I want to read it. I've honestly never thought of a mermaid in a scary way before. Even sirens never scared me before because I always just expected them to be luring in men. I felt immune, but now that I know better, I respect mermaids even more. I'm also a sucker for anything involving movie sets, so this was a great setting for me. I really like the way the author set us up with a cool group of people and then let us watch as they all unraveled. Yes, that's exactly true too. You do get a lot of setup for these characters, and of course any person going through a crazy situation like this is going to unravel, and it's really fascinating to see. Feather wrote, I really enjoyed this book. It was horrifying in so many ways. It was well written. The tension buildup was wonderful. The end was a little meh, kind of predictable, but still good. A solid 8 out of 10 for me. Yeah, I mean, I feel like it kind of feels that way because it's supposed to be, you know, part 1 of something. So I would imagine there's gonna be a sequel, maybe. There's definitely a bit of a little cliffhanger ending that would have a jumping off point, so, but I understand what you mean. Jamie posted a link to an article on Funk's House of Geekery. I don't know if this is your site, Jamie, but if it is, that's really cool. I'm gonna link to their article in the description so you can read it in full, but let's try and skim the main points of what Jamie thought about this. Let me start off by saying all book reviews are inevitably biased towards the reviewer's personal preferences. Counts for movie reviews too, yes. That being said, I loved this book. The story is well thought out and well written. The amount of detail put into every aspect of the voyage is extraordinary. It really is. The specifics behind the science and the technology are the perfect balance of explanation. Absolutely. Author also did an amazing job in providing diversity in the characters. Oh my god, we feel exactly the same way. Oh, I listened to this on audiobook and found myself itching to get back in the car so I could turn it on. It was simply a story that once invested in, you can't put it down. Yep, absolutely. I had a few pet peeves and one more major concern with this book. The first is that at times I felt there was too much explaining in some of the writing. Have some confidence in your audience's intelligence. Totally agree, although I guess personally for me, I liked it because I have only basic high school science under my belt, so I appreciated the explanation, but it's you know, that you can only chalk up to people's personal preferences and their background knowledge also. Some of the characters were a bit one-dimensional, but when you're writing about this many major characters, it's bound to happen. That's true. The most important problem I had was the climax, or lack thereof. Simply put, the big finish lacked enough of a bang. There were plenty of awesome action and horror scenes, don't get me wrong. It just felt like in the end, the writer got a bit tired and wrapped it up super quickly. I wouldn't let that dissuade you from reading this one, however. Yeah. I will encourage you to go look at Jamie's article. I want to send you to the link and not completely show you everything, but they did a fan cast for the book if it ever gets adapted. I gave it a 4 out of 5. On Goodreads in general, it has a 4.03 out of 5. On Barnes & Noble, it has a 4.6 out of 5. And on Amazon, it has a 4.4 out of 5. So if any of you have already read Into the Drowning Deep and you didn't, you're not part of the book club, which why aren't you? And you didn't post your review on there, let me know in the comments what you thought about it. Also, if you read anything else by Mira Grant or Shauna Maguire, please let me know what your favorite is, because I loved her writing, so I'd really love to read more. I do hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're new here. Become a Creepy Peep today. I post videos Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and you can ring that notification bell down there to be notified every time I post a video, even though it rarely works. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, stay strange. Bye! This video is brought to you by all these lovely creepy patron peeps that you see listed here. If you want to find out the perks to being a creepy patron peep yourself, you can check out that link in the description. There's a whole bunch of fun links in the description, so you can follow me on all my social media, Goodreads, Letterboxd, all that good stuff, so make sure you check out the description box. Thanks for watching. I love you. Bye!